Today is 420, and cannabis activists have much to celebrate this year as the Liberal government has announced the legalization of medical marijuana by July of next year. Michael Lickver is an associate at Bennett Jones, a leading advisor in the medical marijuana industry, and joins us with more. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy 420.
And you. Let's talk a little bit about the fact that, how you have such expertise in the cannabis sector and where your knowledge stems.
Yeah, sure. My partner and I founded the cannabis practice about 4 years ago at Bennett Jones when we saw the new regulations coming into place. So we just got out in front of them, started at the ground floor, and we've been doing it ever since.
So what are the current laws and how will they change in just over a year from now?
Sure. So the current laws won't actually change yet, but we have a medical program here in Canada where if you go to a doctor and you get a medical document, you can order your cannabis from a federally licensed producer like Supreme Pharmaceuticals, and they will ship it directly to your house. Or you can cultivate at home up to a certain amount of plants. So that's the current system. That's the legal way to get cannabis now. The federal government introduced legislation last Thursday called the Cannabis Act that when it's enacted, and they're expecting around Canada Day next year, that system will change so that it'll be an adult use market, a rec market, if you will.
So what would the age limit be? 19 plus?
They're pushing for it similar to alcohol, so the feds have said 18 or so, but a lot will be up to the provinces to decide. They can change that.
Now, of course, this is very polarizing. People are very afraid of change. We've heard so long, drugs are bad for you, drugs are bad for the brain, and now it's like, hold on, we're going to make some somewhat legal. So what do you say to those people? Because people are afraid of impaired drivers. How will they be tested, for example?
Sure. You're right. The government has scared us for a long, long time. So it's going to be a bit of a change for the public. But I think most of the perception amongst Canadians now is in favor of legalization. And I also think it's never generally a good thing when you try and sweep things under the rug and leave it to the back areas. So we see a pent-up demand. We see consumers and Canadians wanting to consume cannabis recreationally. So let's create a system for it and let's make it safe. In terms of driving, it's a tricky issue and people are scared. So number one, don't get high and drive. Number two, they're going to complete overhaul of the impaired driving system. And the rules and regulations, so officers will be able to stop you, and if they have a reasonable suspicion, they'll be able to do a roadside oral fluid sample.
Like a spit and swab kind of thing.
Yeah, so don't get high and drive.
And are you allowed to smoke in public?
So we're not sure what it's going to look like yet, but what it looks like right now, proposed, will be keep in mind, the provinces are going to be able to add regulations the way they want to. So if they want to add layers to that, if they want to license vape lounges or smoke lounges, and that's probably what I see happening in a Toronto-type municipality, I think that's the way it'll go.
And it is all about baby steps, right, for Canada. And you look to places like Washington and Colorado, Amsterdam, where it is legal, and people are afraid, what will this do to the moral compass that holds society together?
Sure.
And what have we seen from places that have already instated it?
Yeah, aside from lots of tax revenue and other benefits of the kind, with some cons, I don't think anything will change at a mass level. I don't think Toronto wants to have a stoner culture. I mean, they made that very clear. I think we're going to create a system that's going to grant access, and you'll be able to use the product. In Colorado, I've been there, and I've been there recently, and I think it's a great system, and I don't think much has changed in that sense. It's just you can now access it legally, whereas before you couldn't.
And what about that? Because we saw with the raids last summer, often it's the next day where they open up, but they have removed the edibles. So what do you see happening there?
Yeah, so distribution is the multi-billion-dollar question, and my crystal ball is as accurate as yours. But we do know that the federal government has left it up to the provinces. So if you look right now, what's happening, BC, certain cities have licensed dispensaries and they're okay with them. Toronto's taken a way different approach. So I don't know what distribution is going to look like. It could be a hybrid model, private and public, like LCBO, and then some private retailers. It could be all private. It could just be mail order. We just don't know yet, and it's going to depend on each municipality and how they want to build the legislation.
Too soon to say, but thank you so much for that.
No
because
problem.
There's so many questions, and we're just getting started. And like you said, we have about a year or so, 2 months.
I agree.
To get used to it.
July 1st-ish, 2018, the federal government's going to kind of sprinkle these new regulations at the top of the summer season, and we're excited. We're excited for what's to come.
I think we're going to be seeing more of you.
Thank you
so much. If you're interested in learning more, Michael will actually be speaking at the first ever O Cannabis Conference, clever name, and Expo running tomorrow through Sunday at the Sheridan Centre. For more info on that, breakfasttelevision.ca. Thank you.